I woke up feeling like I'd been run over by a truck. Not the kind of exhaustion that comes from a long day at work or a bad night's sleep. This was deeper, bone deep. The kind of fatigue that made me question whether my body was actually mine anymore. My husband Alex was already awake, propped on one elbow, watching me with that soft smile I'd fallen in love with 3 years ago. His dark hair was tousled, his bare chest still bearing the marks of the night before. He looked like a god who'd stepped out of a painting. Which was ironic, considering how much he just put me through. Morning, beautiful. His voice was warm, intimate, completely at odds with the wreckage he made of my body. You slapped hard. Your fault. I tried to push him away, but my arms felt like lead. I told you I had plans today. Mia's picking me up in 2 hours. He caught my hand and pressed a kiss to my palm. Then cancel. Stay home with me. We haven't had a real day together in weeks. You had me all night. Not enough. It's never enough. There was something in the way he said it, a hunger that went beyond normal desire. I'd always chalked it up to his intensity, his passion. He was a successful CEO, used to getting what he wanted. Why would our marriage be any different? But lately, I'd started to notice things, the way he never seemed to tire, even after hours of activity, the way his skin always felt cooler than mine, even in summer. The way he watched me sometimes, like I was a puzzle he was trying to solve. You're thinking too hard, he murmured, pulling me closer. I can practically hear your brain working. I'm thinking about coffee. There, I was thinking about the appointment I'd made last week, the one Mia had arranged with some specialist her mother swore by. The one I hadn't told Alex about, because I knew he'd insist I didn't need it. He didn't know I'd been seeing doctors for 3 years, trying to figure out why I couldn't get pregnant. He'd always been supportive, too supportive, maybe. He said it didn't matter, that we were enough, but I wanted a child. I wanted to give him a family. And I was starting to wonder if something was wrong with me. Mia was waiting in her car when I finally escaped the house. She took one look at my face and raised an eyebrow. Alex again. I don't want to talk about it. I'll take that as a yes. She pulled away from the curb. You know, I can get you a taser if you need one. Self-defense. Completely legal. Very funny. I'm not joking. The way you've been dragging yourself around lately, I'm starting to think he's actually trying to kill you. I laughed, but it came a hollow. Because for a moment, just a split second, I wondered if she was right. The specialist's office was in the middle of nowhere. 4 hours of winding roads and dead cell service, until we finally pulled up to a ramshackle house that looked like it belonged in a horror movie. Your mother found this place? I asked, staring at the peeling paint and overgrown yard. She says he's legit. Helped my cousin with his allergies. Cleared up my aunt's arthritis. With herbs and crystals. With whatever works. Mia shrugged. Look, I know it's weird. But you've been to everyone else. What's one more? She had a point. I'd spent thousands on specialists, fertility clinics, even a holistic healer who tried to balance my chakras. Nothing had worked. If this guy was a quack, at least I only wasted a day. Dr. Thornton was younger than I expected, maybe early 30s, with sharp eyes and a calm demeanor that made me feel like he could see straight through me. He listened as I explained my symptoms, the fatigue, the brain fog, the way my body never quite felt like my own. 3 years of trying, he repeated. And no diagnosis. Nothing. Every test comes back normal. Your husband, has he been tested? He offered. I told him it wasn't necessary. Why? The question caught me off guard. Because, I don't know. It felt like admitting something was wrong with me. He nodded slowly, then reached for my wrist. His fingers were warm against my skin, but his frown deepened as he held them there. Your pulse is erratic, he said. Freddy, like you're running on empty. I've been stressed. Stress doesn't do this. He gestured for my other wrist. You were born in late July. The 23rd. 22nd. Why? And when did you and your husband first become intimate? I blinked. That's a weird question. Humor me. I thought back. 3 years ago. September. It was our wedding night. Full moon, actually. His expression shifted, a flicker of recognition, quickly masked. And since then, has the frequency of your intimacy remained constant? Mostly. He has a high drive. Sometimes I feel like he can't get enough. Can't, Dr. Thornton repeated. Or won't. I didn't know how to answer that. He asked more questions after that, intimate ones, detailed ones, about positions and duration and whether I ever felt like I was losing myself during the act. It was invasive and uncomfortable, but something in his tone told me this wasn't just curiosity. When he finally sat back, his face was grim. I'm going to tell you something, he said, and I need you to hear it with an open mind. I'll try. Your husband isn't human. I stared at him. Excuse me. 3 years of unprotected intimacy, he continued, and no pregnancy, your symptoms, the exhaustion, the cold intolerance, the episodes where you lose time, these aren't medical, they're supernatural. Supernatural? I laughed, but it came off strained. You're telling me I have a ghost in my uterus. I'm telling you that your husband is a creature of the serpent, a reptile, and he's been using you as a source of life force. Every time you're together, he's draining you, slowly, methodically. The pregnancy hasn't happened because he's been preventing it. A human child would interfere with his plans. I stood up. This is insane. I'm leaving. You're free to go. He didn't try to stop me. But if you stay, you'll be dead in a month. Because of my husband. Because of what he is. I was at the door, my hand on the knob, when he spoke again. You're a rare blood type, the kind his kind feeds on, and you've been feeding him for 3 years. That's why you're so tired. That's why you can't get pregnant. That's why, every time you try to leave, you find yourself coming back. I turned around. I don't leave because I love him. Law. He shook his head. He's made you believe that, but love doesn't drain you. Love doesn't leave you empty. Love doesn't. He stopped. You said you had a full moon wedding night. Tell me something. Do you remember what happened after? The question hit me like a physical blow. I always had trouble remembering the details of our nights together. I chalked it up to exhaustion, to the intensity of the moment. But now, with Dr. Thornton's words echoing in my head, I wasn't so sure. I don't remember, I admit it. I never do. Because he doesn't want you to. Dr. Thornton reached into his desk and pulled out a small glass vial. This is sulfur, magnesium, mostly, with some copper and zinc. It's harmless to humans. But to his kind, it's lethal. What do you want me to do with it? Use it. On his skin. Anywhere. Just a few grains. If I'm wrong, nothing will happen. If I'm right, you know. I took the vial. I didn't want to. But my hand reached for it anyway, like it had a will of its own. This is crazy, I said. You're crazy. Maybe. He smiled. But am I wrong? Mia was waiting in the car. She took one look at my face and said, that bad. He gave me a jar of dirt. Dirt. Sulfur. He thinks Alex is a snake. Mia blinked. Then she burst out laughing. A snake. Like a little snake. Like a little snake. Oh my god. She wiped her eyes. You know what? I'm not even mad. That's the best diagnosis I've ever heard. Can I get a refund? I laughed too. It was either laugh or cry, and I'd already done enough crying over the past 3 years. You should see your face, she said. You look like you just swallowed a bug. I feel like I swallowed a bug. Okay, look. She started the car. The guy's a nut job. We both know that, but if he gave you something, and you want to be absolutely sure, then use it. Prove him wrong. And then we can laugh about this forever. She was right. I'd been in an emotional spiral for 3 years, and I was tired of it. One test. One experiment. And then I could put this whole thing behind me and focus on finding a real solution. Okay, I said. I'll do it. But you're driving. If I pass out from the stress, I want someone competent behind the wheel. Alex was already home when I got back, the house filled with the smell of my favorite takeout. He kissed me like he hadn't seen me in weeks, his hands roaming over my back like he was memorizing the curve of my spine. I missed you, he murmured against my lips. All day. Every second. I was just with Mia. I don't care. I still missed you. He pulled me toward the bedroom, and I let him. Because that's what I always did. I let him lead, let him take, let him consume. But tonight, I was paying attention. I noticed the way his pupils dilated in the low light. The way his breathing changed when we moved. The way his skin, always cool, seemed to drop 0 degrees when he was aroused. And when he reached for me, I reached for the vial. I didn't pour it all, just a few grains. Not enough to hurt him if he was human, but enough to make a point. He didn't notice. He was too focused on me, on the rhythm he perfected over 3 years. But when the grains touched his skin, something changed. A sharp hiss filled the room. Not from him, from the air itself. And then, a smell. Burning. Like flesh on a hot stove. Alex jerked back, gasping. His eyes were wide, panicked. And for just a moment, I saw something else in them. Something that wasn't human. Get away from me. He scrambled off the bed, clutching his arm. What did you do? I didn't do anything. That's sulfur. Where did you get sulfur? From the doctor. My voice was calm, steadier than I felt. A specialist. He said you were. He snarled. Actually snarled, his face contorting into something feral and ugly. He said I was what? A snake. The word hung between us like a blade. For a long moment, he didn't move. Then slowly, deliberately, he began to change. It wasn't dramatic, there were no scales or fangs. But his posture shifted, his shoulders rolling back in a way that didn't look human. His eyes, always dark, seemed to go faintly in the dim light. You shouldn't have done that. His voice was different now. Lower. Colder. You shouldn't have brought him into this. Who? Dr. Thornton. Dr. Thornton. He laughed, and it was a horrible sound. He's been hunting me for years. He doesn't want to save you. He wants to use you to destroy me. Then tell me he's wrong. Tell me you're not. I couldn't finish the sentence. Because his skin had started to ripple, scales rising to the surface in patterns I'd only seen in nightmares. I ran. I grabbed my keys and bolted out the door, not caring that I was still in my work clothes, not caring that I was barefoot, not caring about anything except putting as much distance as possible between me and the thing that had been my husband. Mia answered on the second ring. I need you, I said, my voice shaking. I need you to come get me. Right now. What happened? Just come, please. I gave her the address of a 24-hour diner I passed on the way home. She was there in 20 minutes, her face a mask of concern. What's wrong? She asked. You look like you've seen a ghost. Worse. I wrapped my arms around myself, trying to stop the shaking. I think I've seen a monster. She didn't laugh this time. She just listened as I told her everything. Alex says a snake. Like, actually a snake. Dr. Thornton was right. Okay, she said slowly. Okay, let's process this. You're telling me your husband, who you've been married to for 3 years, is secretly a reptile who's been feeding on your life force. Yes. And you found this out by sprinkling sulfur on him. Yes. Did you see him transform? Like, full snake transformation. I thought about the scales, the glowing eyes, the way his voice had dropped into something ancient and cold. Not full, but close. He was starting. Starting. She nodded. Okay, okay. I'm going to say something, and I need you to not get mad. What? Are you absolutely sure you weren't hallucinating? Because I know that sulfur is like a thing, but people don't just turn into snakes. That's not how biology works. I wanted to argue. I wanted to scream that I knew what I'd seen, but a tiny part of me, the rational part, wondered if she was right. I've been exhausted for years. I've been under immense stress. Maybe the lack of sleep and the doctor's accusations had triggered something. Maybe I hallucinated the whole thing. I don't know. I admit it. I honestly don't know. Then let's get you home. You need rest. And maybe a therapist. But mostly rest. She drove me back to the apartment. I told her she didn't have to stay, but she did anyway, camped out on my couch with a pillow and a bad attitude. He better not show up, she muttered. If he shows up, I'm going to pepper spray him. He won't show up. How do you know? Because the look on his face when I ran, it wasn't anger. It was hurt. Like I'd betrayed him by finding out the truth. And I didn't know what to do with that. I'll call you tomorrow, I said. I just need to sleep. I didn't sleep. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying the night over and over. The hiss, the glow, the way his skin had rippled like something was trying to escape. And then the text came. Xinghao, I know you're scared. I know you don't understand. But I need you to know that I love you. I've always loved you. And I will never hurt you. Not intentionally. Please don't leave me. Xinghao. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I typed back, Xinghao, if you love me, you tell me the truth. Xinghao. His response came immediately. Xinghao, I can't. Not like this. But I will. I promise. Just give me a few days. I need to find a way to explain. Xinghao. I wanted to argue. I wanted to demand answers. But I was tired. Too tired. Xinghao, fine. Xinghao, I wrote. Xinghao, you have 3 days. After that, I'm gone. Xinghao. He didn't reply. And I spent the rest of the night wondering if I just made the biggest mistake of my life. 3 days. I spent them alternating between panic and paralysis. Day 1, I called in sick to work and spent the entire morning staring at my phone, waiting for Alex to text. He didn't. I told myself it was because he was giving me space. I told myself it was because he was preparing his explanation. I told myself a lot of things that I didn't actually believe. By noon, I convinced myself that I'd imagined the whole thing. The sulfur, the scales, the glow in his eyes, all of it was just stress and exhaustion and a quiet doctor's suggestions planting ideas in my head. I was fine. Alex was fine. Everything was fine. Then I tried to get up from the couch and nearly collapsed. My legs wouldn't hold me. My vision swam with dark spots. I had to crawl to the kitchen counter just to get a glass of water, and even that simple movement left me gasping for breath. I called Mia. I need you to come back, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. Something's wrong with me. What kind of wrong? I don't know. I can barely stand. My heart's racing. I feel like I stopped, trying to find words. I feel like I'm being drained. She was at my apartment in 40 minutes. When she saw me, her face went pale. Emily, you look like death. Thanks. You really know how to make a girl feel better. I'm serious. She knelt beside me, pressing a hand to my forehead. You're burning up. Have you taken anything? Just water. Okay. Okay, I'm taking you to a hospital. Real one. No more witch doctors. The ER was a blur of fluorescent lights and blood tests. They hooked me up to IVs, ran every test they could think of, and came back with the same answer I'd been getting for 3 years. Nothing. Everything was normal. No infection, no deficiency, no obvious cause for my symptoms. We'd like to admit you for observation, the attending physician said. Your vitals are unstable, and we need to rule out a few things. Like what? Like a cardiac event, or a neurological episode. The fact that your blood work is clean doesn't mean nothing's wrong. I agreed to stay. I didn't have a choice, but as they wheeled me up to a room, I couldn't shake the feeling that a hospital wasn't going to save me. Whatever was happening to my body was beyond their training. Mia stayed with me for the first few hours, then left when visiting hours ended. She promised to be back in the morning. I told her not to worry. The light tasted bitter in my mouth. The room was quiet when the sun finally set. Machines beeped softly in the corner. The sea dripped into my arm. I stared at the ceiling and tried not to think about Alex. I failed. Where was he? Was he even in the city? Had he come back to the apartment, found me gone, and decided it was easier to let me go? Or was he out there somewhere, plotting something worse? I didn't know which scenario scared me more. I must have drifted off at some point, because the next thing I remember was a hand on my shoulder, a voice in my ear. Emily. I jolted awake. Alex was sitting beside my bed. He looked terrible, pale and haggard, with dark circles under his eyes and a haunted expression that I'd never seen on his face before. He was wearing civilian clothes, not the suit he usually wore, and there was blood on his sleeve. Alex! My voice cracked. What are you doing here? I had to see you. He reached for my hand. I pulled it back. He didn't push. The doctors told me you were here. I came as soon as I heard. You came because you were worried. Yes. Or you came to finish what you started. The hurt in his eyes was so raw and genuine that I almost believed it. Almost. I know what you think, he said. And you're right about some of it. But not all of it. I need you to hear me out. Then talk. I pulled my knees up to my chest, as if that would protect me. Explain. You have until I call the nurse. He took a deep breath, and then he started talking. I'm not human, he began, but you already figured that out. I'm what your doctor would call a serpentine, a shapeshifter. I was born well, hatched in the mountains, a few hundred years ago. Hundreds. 500, give or take. I stopped counting after 3. I felt the world tilt. I'd been prepared for a confession. I hadn't been prepared for the scope of it. When I met you, he continued, I didn't plan on falling in love. I'd been alone for centuries. I had relationships before, but he paused, searching for a word. They were transactional. I would take what I needed, and they would give it, and then I'd move on. That's what my kind does. It's what we've always done. But you didn't. No. He met my eyes. I didn't. Because when I met you, something changed. I didn't want to take from you. I wanted to give you everything. Then why my voice broke? Why did you do it? Why did you feed on me? Because I was trying to save you. I stared at him. What? When you were a child, you were attacked. A creature like me, a rogue. Someone who didn't follow the rules found you and left a mark. A trace of venom, just a drop. But enough to poison you slowly, over years. By the time you were an adult, the damage was done. Your body was shutting down. You would have died by 30. I thought about the attacks I had as a child, the ones my parents said were just bad dreams, the fevers, the phantom pains. The way I'd always been just a little bit sick, even when the doctors said I was fine. That's impossible, I said. I would have known. You wouldn't. The venom works differently on humans. It disguises itself. It makes you forget. That's what it's designed to do. And you decided to help me. Eventually, yes. He looked away, something like shame crossing his face. I met you at a party. I felt the venom in your blood the moment I entered the room. And I knew that if I didn't do something, you'd be gone within a year. So you married me. I married you because I loved you. The venom, I could have fixed that without marriage. I did fix it, partly, but I couldn't get all of it out. The only way to neutralize it completely was to integrate it into my own system, to take it from you and replace it with something else. Something else. I felt sick. What kind of something else? My venom. He said it simply, like it was obvious. I had to inject you with mine. It's the only way to counteract the poison, but it's a slow process. Emily, it takes years. If I'd done it all at once, you would have died from the shock. So I did it bit by bit. Every time we were together, every time he stopped. I was healing you, but I was also marking you. Making you like me. I thought about the coldness in my limbs, the way I'd started to crave dark rooms and quiet spaces. The changes in my body that I blamed on age and stress. The snake venom. Yes. And the pregnancy. I prevented it. He looked away. I didn't want to bring a child into this. Not until I was sure you were safe. Not until I knew you survived. I sat in the silence, trying to process everything. His confession. His logic. The sheer enormity of what he'd done. You should have told me, I said. You should have told me from the beginning. I know. I'm sorry. I was afraid. If I told you what I was doing, you would have run. You would have been terrified. And I couldn't, his voice cracked. I couldn't lose you. So you lied to me. I protected you. You decided for me. You took away my choice. I know. He reached for my hand again. This time, I let him. His skin was cold against mine, colder than before. I know I was wrong, and I'll spend the rest of my life making it up to you. But I need you to understand something. The doctor, the one who gave you the sulfur, he's not trying to help you. He's using you. Dr. Thornton. He's been hunting my kind for 50 years. He's killed dozens of us, and he's been following me for the past decade, waiting for the right moment to strike. When he found out about you, he saw an opportunity. He's been poisoning you against me since the beginning. That's insane. I pulled my hand back. You're lying. He was the one who told me about the venom. He gave me the sulfur. He tried to protect me. He gave you the sulfur because he knew it would hurt me, not because it would help you. Do you think he cares about you, Emily? To him, you're just a weapon, a tool to get to me. And when he's done with you, he'll dispose of you. I didn't want to believe him, but a part of me, the part that had been doubting everything for the past 3 years, whispered that he might be right. Why should I trust you? I asked. You've been lying to me since we met. Because I'm the only person in this world who loves you without wanting something from you. He stood up. Dr. Thornton wants to use you to kill me. My kind, the others did use you for your venom, for the power in your blood. Everyone wants something, but I just want you. Alex! I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't expect you to trust me, but I need you to be careful. If you try to find Dr. Thornton again, if you tell him about our conversation, he'll make you disappear. He'll kill you as quickly as he killed me. He's a healer, I said weakly. He helps people. He uses them. He moved toward the door, then paused. If you want to leave, I won't stop you. I'll never stop you from leaving. But if you stay, if you give me a chance to prove myself, I'll spend the rest of my life making this right. I promise. He left before I could respond. I didn't sleep that night. The machines beeped, the sea dripped, and I stared at the door, half expecting Dr. Thornton to walk in, half hoping he would. He didn't. But the next morning, I got a call from an unknown number. Emily. His voice was calm, measured. I heard you were hospitalized. I wanted to check in. How did you get this number? Your friend Mia. She called my office, said you were asking about me. She was very insistent. Mia? Of course. She'd been trying to get a hold of Dr. Thornton since I'd landed in the ER, convinced he'd know what was wrong with me. Don't talk to her again, I said. She's not part of this. She already is. She's been asking questions I can't answer. Questions about your husband, about your health, about the things I told you. He paused. You didn't tell her everything, did you? No. Good. Keep it that way. This is between you and me. Why are you calling? Because I know you're scared. And I know your husband visited you last night. I know what he told you. How do you? I had my ways. His voice was flat, emotionless. He said I'm using you, didn't he? That I'm just a hunter who wants to see you destroyed. I didn't. You didn't have to. I've heard it 100 times from 100 people like him. They always deny it. They always pretend they're the victims. And you're not. Emily, I've been treating people like you for 30 years. People who've been drained, infected, poisoned by creatures like Alex. I've saved hundreds of lives. I've never lost a single patient to their venom. Does that sound like someone who wants to use you? I didn't answer. Here's what I'm going to do, he continued. I'm going to come to the hospital tonight. I'm going to bring something that will neutralize the venom in your blood. It'll take a few hours, and it won't be pleasant, but by tomorrow morning, you'll be free. No more snake venom, no more influence, just you. And Alex. Alex is a threat. To you, to everyone around you. I can't save you unless you're willing to cut him off completely. Cut him off how? Leave him. Forever. No contact, no farewell, no looking back. He's already poisoned you once. If you stay, he'll do it again. And next time, I won't be able to save you. I wanted to argue. I wanted to defend Alex, to tell Dr. Thornton that he was wrong, but the words wouldn't come. Because somewhere, deep down, I knew that trusting the only person who tried to help me was safer than trusting the man who'd been lying since we met. Fine, I said. I'll do it. But I need proof. I need to see that he's really who you say he is. Then I'll give you that proof. The hospital was quiet that night. Dr. Thornton arrived after visiting hours, dressed in civilian clothes, carrying a small leather bag. He looked like an ordinary visitor, nothing like the hunter Alex had described. This will sting, he said, setting the bag on my bedside table. But it's necessary. The venom is concentrated in your bloodstream. This will draw it out. He worked quickly, setting up and sit with a milky liquid that smelled faintly of herbs. Within minutes, the heat began to fade from my skin, replaced by a deep, bone-chilling cold. That's it, he murmured. That's the venom leaving your system. In a few hours, you'll feel normal again. Thank you, I said, my voice weak. Don't thank me yet. He sat down, his face unreadable. There's something else you need to know. Something your husband didn't tell you. What? The venom he gave you is not just a poison, it's a binding agent. Every time he fed on you, he was marking you, claiming you, making sure you couldn't survive without him. That's why you couldn't leave, that's why you kept coming back. Even if I wanted to leave. Even if you beg to leave. The binding makes sure you can't. It's how his kind keeps their prey close. I thought about all the times I've tried to leave the fights, the arguments, the moments where I packed a bag and walked out the door, and every time, I found myself coming back. I blamed it on love, on forgiveness, on the belief that things would get better. But maybe it had never been love. Dear, Thornton left at midnight, promising to return in the morning. I lay in the hospital bed, shivering under the thin blanket, feeling the last traces of the venom leaving my body. The cold in my limbs was fading, the fog in my mind was lifting. For the first time in years, I felt like myself. But the clarity came with a price. I remembered things I'd forgotten, the way Alex had looked at me when we first met, not with love, but with hunger, the way he manipulated my thoughts, my feelings, my reality, the way he trapped me in a cage of my own making. And I hated him. Not because he lied, not because he fed on me, but because he made me love him, and I'd been too blind to see the difference between real love and something crafted by magic. I would leave, I would disappear, and I would never let him find me. The resolution was firm, final, and utterly wrong. I woke to a text from Alex. Xinghao, I know what he's doing to you. I know what he told you. It's not true. Please, Emily, let me see you. Let me explain. I'll tell you everything, I promise. Just please, Xinghao. I didn't finish reading. I deleted the message, turned off my phone, and closed my eyes. He had his chance, and he wasted it. I should have known something was wrong the moment the shivering stopped. By morning, the cold in my bones had vanished. By noon, I was eating solid food without nausea. By evening, I convinced the hospital staff to discharge me, because whatever Dr. Thornton had done was clearly working. They ran my blood work one last time. The results came back clean, normal, better than normal. Actually, my white blood cell count had stabilized. My iron levels were in the healthy range for the first time in years. You're a miracle, the attending physician said, shaking her head. I don't know what changed, but keep doing it. I smiled and thanked her and didn't mention the milky liquid that had dripped into my veins or the strange herbal smell that still clung to my skin. Mia picked me up. She took one look at me and burst into tears. You look like yourself again, she said. The real you. I almost forgot what that looked like. Thanks. I think. I'm serious. The last few years, you've been fading. I thought it was stress. Or grief. Or just love. But it's more than that, isn't it? It's him. I didn't know how to answer that. Because she was right. Alex had been draining me for years, and I'd been too blind to see it. Too manipulated. Too in love. Or at least, that's what I thought before the treatment. But now that the venom was gone, my memories were shifting, not disappearing, just rearranging themselves. Little details stood out that I'd never noticed before. The way Alex had looked at me when I was sick, not with hunger, but with worry. The way he held me when I cried. The way he always knew exactly what to say to make me feel better. What if that was real? What if his love wasn't just manipulation? I didn't know what to believe anymore. Dr. Thornton called that evening. The treatment went well, I assume. You tell me. You're the expert. Your vitals are stable, then. You're feeling better. Better than I had in years. Then you owe me a visit. His voice was calm, almost clinical. I need to run a few more tests. Monitor your recovery. Make sure the venom hasn't left any lasting damage. I agreed. Because I wanted to know. Because I needed to understand what had been done to me, and whether I could ever truly be free of it. The drive was familiar this time, 4 hours of winding roads and dead cell service, until I pulled up to the ramshackle house that had haunted my nightmares for weeks. Dr. Thornton was waiting on the porch. He looked different in the daylight, older, more tired, like he'd been carrying a weight he couldn't put down. Come in, he said. We have a lot to discuss. The inside of the house was different than I remembered, more organized, more professional. There were filing cabinets along one wall, each one labeled with dates and names. A whiteboard covered in diagrams and symbols, a bookshelf filled with volumes on mythology and folklore. You've been busy, I said. I've been doing this for 50 years. You get organized eventually. He gestured for me to sit. I did. He sat across from me, his eyes sharp and assessing. I have to ask you something, he said. And I need you to be honest with me. Of course. When you were with Alex, did you ever feel like you were losing yourself? Like your thoughts weren't entirely your own? I thought about it. The fog, the confusion, the way I'd always done what he wanted, even when I didn't want to. Sometimes, I admit it. Not all the time. But sometimes I'd hear myself say things and wonder where they came from. That's the binding, he said. The venom creates a connection between the shifter and the host. He can influence your thoughts, your emotions, your decisions. The longer you're exposed, the stronger the connection becomes. After 3 years, he shook his head. You were lucky I got you when I did. Another month, and you would have been completely lost. Lost how? Dissolved. Your consciousness would have merged with his. You would have become an extension of him. A puppet. I felt sick. He would have done that to me. He was doing it to you. The question is whether he knew what he was doing. I stared at him. What do you mean? Shifters operate on instinct. Emily, they don't always understand the consequences of their actions. Your husband loved you, I don't doubt that, but love doesn't make him safe. Love doesn't undo the damage he's done. I didn't have an answer to that. Because he was right. Loving someone didn't absolve them of the harm they caused. I want to know about the others, I said. The ones you helped. How many have there been? 32 in the past 5 years. All of them with stories like yours. Partners, children, friends, people who got too close to a shifter and got burned. Were they all venomous? All dangerous? All of them? No. He leaned back in his chair. Some shifters are peaceful. They live in isolation, avoiding human contact. But the ones who seek out relationships, they're the ones you have to worry about. They crave connection, but they can't control their instincts. Eventually, they always hurt the people they love. I thought about Alex, about the way he held me, the way he looked at me, the way he promised to explain everything. Where is he now? I asked. Probably looking for you. Dr. Thornton's expression was grim. Shifters are territorial. They don't let go of their prey. Prey. The word tasted bitter. You keep calling me that. Because that's what you were to him. Whatever love he felt, whatever connection he believed he had, it was secondary to his drive to survive. He needed you to live. And he'd do whatever it took to keep you. Even if it meant hurting me. Especially if it meant hurting you. Shifters don't prioritize human well-being. They're not human. They can't. I should have believed him. I wanted to believe him. But a small part of me, the part that still remembered Alex's hand on my face, his voice in my ear, couldn't stop wondering if there was another side to the story. The next few weeks were a blur of recovery and research. I moved into a temporary apartment across town, far from the home I'd shared with Alex. I changed my phone number, deleted my social media accounts, and stopped answering calls from numbers I didn't recognize. I was careful, methodical, determined to start over. But I couldn't stop thinking about him. At night, I'd lie awake and replay our conversations, looking for clues, the way he'd known what I was thinking before I said it, the way he'd always been there when I needed him. The way he'd never once lost his temper, even when I was impossible to deal with. Maybe that was just who he was. Maybe the venom didn't control him, maybe he controlled the venom. Maybe everything he'd done was an attempt to save me, even if he'd gone about it the wrong way. Or maybe I was just making excuses for the man who destroyed me. I called Dr. Thornton for the 3rd time that week. I want to see him, I said. One last time. So I can get closure. Bad idea. Probably. But I need to do it. For myself. He was silent for a long moment. Then he said, if you do this, you're putting yourself at risk. He may not let you leave. I know. Fine. But I'm coming with you. I won't let you go through this alone. We met Alex in a public park. I'd chosen the location deliberately, wide open spaces, lots of witnesses, nowhere for him to trap me. Dr. Thornton was stationed at a distance, watching through binoculars, ready to intervene if necessary. Alex arrived early. He was sitting on a bench, his face drawn and anxious, his clothes rumpled in a way I'd never seen before. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. Emily. He stood up when he saw me. You came. I told you I would. Thank you. He reached for my hand. I pulled back. He didn't push. I know you don't trust me. I know you have every reason to hate me. But I need you to know I didn't know what I was doing. The venom. The venom. I thought I was protecting you. I didn't realize it was making you sick until it was too late. Didn't realize, or didn't want to realize. The question hit him like a physical blow. He flinched, his eyes dropping to the ground. Both, he admitted. I knew something was wrong. I could feel it. But I didn't want to admit it. I didn't want to lose you. So you kept doing it, even though you knew it was hurting me. I thought I could control it. I thought if I was careful enough, I could keep you safe. But I was wrong. I was wrong about everything. I sat down on the bench across from him.